2, 3, 4. Cheech and Manny Show. Cheech and Manny Show.
All right, and we are back. This is the Cheech and Manny Show, the People's Podcast. I'm with the People's Bassist, Chris Carrero. We are the podcast for the people. Yes, we do it for you. And we also keep rock and roll alive. But today we
Yeah.
are actually for the month of October, which, by the way, happy 1st and 2nd of October. We have entered spooky season, and we're
Yes.
going to be continuing The Exorcist. So
Yeah.
last week, and by the way, by the time I shouldn't say last week because I don't know. Hopefully, the episode comes out soon. We talked about The Exorcist, the background, the real story, the real characters. For example, Reagan. It's not a girl, right? It's actually what's his name, Cheech?
Roland Doe was a boy from Maryland.
From
Yeah.
Maryland, right? And then the other
Yeah.
movie, Exorcist movie, takes place in Georgetown, right? So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
A cool, like, interesting twist there. But yeah, we made some discoveries, peeks at the demonic and paranormal, and actually the real story is pretty scary. I mean, I think it's, because it is real, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And it was like at the end when you watch this, so this movie was meant to be made the way that they found Father Father Bishop's diary. Remember the ending? But
yeah.
so the
Yeah.
movie was meant The Exorcist was meant to be made and I believe by God's will, in my opinion. And for me, deep diving, I've been studying The Exorcist, and I've been frightened of this movie my whole life, man. Like from 8 when it was on TV, I was too young to go to the movies, but I rewatched it. I watched a bunch of documentaries on The Exorcist and on William Peter Blatty and William Friedkin, and it is just, I think, it's the greatest drama horror movie of all time. And we're gonna give you 2 key points. We'll save it for the end, right? I don't want to give it away right now.
Yeah, no,
About
and that's pretty much today's episode because we're gonna argue, and I'm in full agreement on Cheech, and I've kind of been thinking about this for years. That, well, first of all, it's rated R for a reason, right? It's
Well, it
definitely.
was rated X originally.
Well, I know, no, actually, I mean, it should be rated X because of certain scenes. Which,
Yeah. Well,
in this episode, I feel like we're not gonna delve into more like the movie details because I
right.
think maybe we'll do that maybe in another Halloween episode, like
Yeah.
tell in the X's. But we're gonna explore some of the themes, and it's funny because if a modern day person, like our day and age,
Yeah.
watch The Exorcist, mind you, they're already used to like the modern horror experience, right? Which, by the way, The Conjuring, which
Yeah.
watch Born episodes, right? There's a little plug in for that.
Yeah.
You want more about that? Yeah, jump scares, like you're in the theater, monsters, whatever.
Yeah.
Not to say that Reagan is not a monster, but we have the Nun, for example,
Yeah. And
and
you, and you know, it's funny. I rewatched The Exorcist. No jump scares.
well, that's the thing. Well, it turns out, and I've always been thinking it's not a horror movie.
It's not a horror movie. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's our episodes. Like, so, what kind of movie is it? So, and before we jump into
We're
that,
gonna we'll get into that. But it is a horror movie in the sense about how evil and like scary Reagan is. Like that makes it scary. That makes it like, oh my God, like, I couldn't sleep for nights and nights and nights from 8 years old till probably in my 40s,
Mhm.
But I slept with the light on. I mean, until I got married, until my wife was like, "Lights go off. Sorry, Reagan's not here." You know what I mean? That
Well,
kind
think
of thing.
about it, and the reason I feel like, and we'll explore it, but before we go there, right,
Yeah.
any shout outs, Cheech, going on, brother?
Oh, a lot. Yeah, man. Had a great day off. Played a lot of bass. I wrote a new episode, which will be our final one for Halloween. The Devil Made Me Do It. And I
Yeah,
recommend that
yeah.
movie. And I recommend the documentary on Netflix, but we'll save that for another time. And for those of you that follow me on Facebook, after rehearsal in Instagram, after rehearsal on Sunday, the People's Ghost Hunters made a new video, and it's really cool because it's really connected to Amityville.
Well, and again, slow down though, because I posted that on Instagram. So, and I'm gonna start posting our Spotify link and
Yeah,
link for all our fans out there. So now with Spotify, first of all, you'll be able to watch our reels on Instagram, and eventually TikTok. We'll be on there. But
yeah,
now also we're gonna be on Spotify, so
yes.
you can listen to your headphones. It's a video podcast, but you can turn out an option and like listen with
That
headphones.
is so cool. Check us out on Spotify. I think there's going to be 3 episodes.
100%. But yeah, dude, but explain that house. What's you said in the video, and it had I put the Mr. Crowley song in the back, and it's just a
Yeah,
match.
which is amazing.
What's going on?
So
What
that
work?
house is linked to Hans Holzer, the great Hans Holzer, who I don't think he rivaled the Warrens. I think he innovated parapsychology because he did it in the 60s, and he was already writing books and was already popular. The Warrens just, took the Robert Johnson licks and became real popular. But they, in their own right, they are the Beatles and the Led Zeppelins of parapsychology. But Hans Holzer is no joke. So he wrote a lot of books, and he exorcised, not so much exercise, but he would banish ghosts. I don't know if he got into the demons too much. And he only worked with trance mediums, and two of them were Ethel Johnson Myers and Sybil Leek. Sybil
Hmm.
Leek I always loved because she was a student of Crowley, in a good way, not in a satanic way. He picked up on her talents. Um, but anyway, so my dad worked in that house in, like, I don't know, the 80s. He's a painter, and he brought all his shit there, and he's painting with his partner, and he'd go and have lunch, and everything would be scattered everywhere. And he'd be like, "What the fuck? Is there a kid in here?" Every day this happened. And he would come home, and at the dinner table, he'd be like, "I don't know, there's some weird shit in this house." And the lady said, "Yeah, you might think we're crazy, but there's a ghost here." And my father was like, "What the fuck?" My father's like the toughest guy in the world. He's not scared of anything. But when he told me that, it always stuck with me. And he never told me where the house was. And then one night, many years ago, me and my brother-in-law, Rob, and another guy, we found it. We actually
Hmm.
found the house. And then I forgot about the house. And then I picked up a book by Hans Holzer, and it said A House in Rye, A Haunting. And it was the story of Lottie Peck. And
Hmm.
basically, the story was, it was I'm going to say his name wrong. Jared. Jared Peck was a lawyer or a senator or some bigwig who used to commute to New York City from Rye. And he had this girl, daughter, only daughter. There was something off with her. Let's put it that way. Back then maybe she was mentally ill, you know. So he locked her. If you look at the house, the picture in the window, that's the attic. He locked her in there. She was so tormented, she set the house on fire. She didn't care. So she died in the fire. Um, and that's basically the story. So when people would move into that house, they would have ghosts. This girl would haunt them. So they called on Hans Holzer and Sybil Leek to try to get her out of the house. She wasn't demonic. She would just do mischievous things and, do other stuff. Um, and then this happened to like 4 people that lived in the house. Finally, he got rid of it. And it was just a little story in one of his books. And then I visited the house many times when I was doing the ghost hunting many years ago, and I got so obsessed with Lottie, I went to her grave. I found her grave in Rye Cemetery, and the people's ghost hunters may go back. And like a jackass, I tried to contact her. I don't know, but anyway. But so the whole point of it is it's connected to Hans Holzer. One week we're in Rye, our own Amityville, in my town practically, and then the week before that we're in the real Amityville where Hans Holzer was. And I think Hans Holzer is really the most important thing about Amityville because he's the one that said that the Native American is the one that possessed the house. So
Right.
he gets a lot of credit. So that's just my little story about Lottie Peck. And there's 2 documentaries on YouTube. One about the house in Rye, and then his daughter, I forget her, Alexandria, I think her name is, Holzer. I wrote to her about a decade ago, and I said, "Do you remember your father's case in Rye?" She says, "I have no clue. I'll look through files." Surely enough, 5 years ago, she has a show on the Travel Channel about him, and the first episode is about the house in Rye. So in my mind, I hope I inspired her to revisit that story, because you know, and nobody in Westchester really. You have to be pretty hardcore to know about this house and where it is. It's hidden, and now I'm not going to give away the secret. I told one person only who I trust, but I'm not gonna. Maybe one day we'll take a ride, Manny.
Yeah.
But so anyway, yeah, that was what we did. You know, and always a shout out to Potter's Field. We're getting some of our old songs that we haven't played in a while, and we're reworking them. Gonna hopefully do Freebirds this week, and me and Bobby are gonna start writing new material. So looking forward to that. So what's going on with you?
Dude, life is good, man. Like it's really good. I'm happy because we entered the spooky season, so I feel like this is
Yeah,
so appropriate out there. And I guess I just want to throw a disclaimer out there, and maybe for you too. No, we're like you're not a Satanist. No, we're not. Yes, yes, you're gonna discover that we're actually Catholic, and we actually believe our religion. So this stuff is actually pretty real for us because I feel as though just the season. I'm happy it's fall. Today was beautiful weather.
yeah. This is the Halloween thing. I'm really into the supernatural, the occult. I have been for years, like
Years.
Jimmy Page or Geezer
And these
Butler
for us
was.
are early temple conversations.
Yeah, like the way Geezer Butler wrote about it, or Jimmy Page. Like I'm not. That's as far as I go. And
And by the way, as an aside, speaking of Geezer Butler and Jimmy Page also casting spells, did you see that I sent you some sort of post Taylor Swift casting spells? Did you
yeah,
this? And you're like, what a joke.
well, I gotta say, if you think about it, being a musician is kind of like being a magician, because you are making people feel a certain way.
Right. And
You know,
also
you're
the
touching their souls.
it, I've always wondered and I've seen this concert experiences are like religious
They
experiences.
are.
I
Yeah,
mean, so it's not surprising that the casting spell concept it is kind of there. I mean, you can see
it,
it. It's like when the girls in the '60s would scream and faint when they saw the Beatles. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, the
what the
Beatles were, through their music, were being magicians on these women, and the music is the power. That's the magic.
right?
Yeah, Taylor Swift ain't casting. She's just writing songs for these young girls that love her, and I'm not gonna bash her. Although she is Zoe LeVay reincarnated, that may have something to do with it, you know. But music is a power, and it does tap into some kind of positive magic.
Yeah.
Why am I obsessed with heavy metal, hard rock, jazz?
Right. Well,
You
because it
know, because
reaches the soul.
it,
Like
it,
music
it's
is like the language of the soul because it's like you need to, and that's why again we always have this great argument on our show us because we're in agreement about what constitutes like genius music and like true
yeah,
music, right? Even something that's like heavy metal, there's such a culture and thing around it, and it unites fans. It's usually positive,
yeah.
um, and yeah, music is able to reach the soul, right?
Music is a religion. Let's put it that way. It really is. It's not magic like, Jimmy Page, although he looks like Gandalf with the bow and stuff. It's
Right.
a religion, man, because you take it to heart. I think me being a bass player was meant to be. It was almost a calling, to like a priest wanting to be getting a calling. Why I love the bass. Why do I love it so much? I don't know. I have no idea. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
felt, and any musician who loves their instrument is going to say that. Like, you're a teacher, you got a calling to be a
yeah,
teacher.
yeah.
You know, um, I don't think a lot of people that like we know at certain places, and I'll leave that at that, get a calling. to do what they do.
It's so funny, and if your calling is to be a temple priest, man, I mean, I guess in a way, I guess you have longevity, right? Because you
Yeah.
know what happens.
It might be a passion for them. They like their job. They love what they do. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna knock it, but I mean, I don't know. But we won't have to talk about that place. We'll get into the real evil.
I was gonna say, so let's talk about the Exorcist, right?
Yeah.
Like cue the Mike Tubular song or Mike Old,
Oh,
uh,
Michael Oldfield.
Michael
Yeah.
Michael or Mike Oldfield, Tubular Bells, the iconic film from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's usually on everyone's top list. It's considered one of the greatest horror movies of all time. Um, it came out we kind of discussed this, came out in 1973. When it came out, it was a huge sensation, made people faint. You were frightened of it for such a long
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember came out in '73, so I was a baby. But when I saw it in '78, they would play it on TV, and I couldn't escape it. It would be everywhere. And then my mom got mad at me for watching it. Me and my sister watched it, and then I brought it up in catechism in religion class, and the priest was like, "We will not talk about that movie because it's very real." And then hearing that from a priest at 8 years old, that makes the psychological part of it even worse. Oh,
Right,
so this is real? This isn't like a horror movie? I didn't know what it was when I watched it. I thought it was a horror movie, and I didn't know what the devil was or exorcism. But then when a priest says that, and I've had conversations with priests over a couple scotches many years ago, and they said, "Yeah, we don't talk about those things, but it's very real." And they
right,
do report them in the church. Go to any church and ask to see the documents. There, even in Portchester, there will be reported exorcists in the files, and
right.
I think they can show you if you wanted to. So. But you want to dive right into it,
Let's dive right in.
and
Where we going to first, Cheech?
we'll talk a little bit about William Blatty and his partner, uh, Freakin, William
Mhm.
Freakin.
And
Uh,
William Friedkin is director. William Blatty wrote the book and the screenplay.
yes. And I was gonna say something, I lost my train of thought, but we'll just dive right in. So, 1971, uh, a book, and then a movie in 1973 by William Peter Blatty, directed by William Freakin. It stars now. The cast is amazing. We gotta talk about these actors. Like they don't make them anymore. We talked about Gary Oldman. Did you
Yeah.
see the Gary Oldman thing I sent you, where he's like a
Yeah.
Jamaican
Well,
Rasta
that
guy?
movie, yeah, this is one of his iconic scenes.
Yeah, I mean the guy is like just. So these people are like before him, obviously, but just genius actors. Hopefully, I get all their names right. Ellen Bernstein, uh, Max von how do you say his name? Max von
On Sido, I think.
you know,
And by the way,
Jason.
Ellen Bernstein plays Chris, the mother.
Yeah,
We have Max von Sydow, who's like a famous actor. He plays Father Lancaster Marin.
yep. Jason Miller.
His father Damien, Father Doctor Damien Karras,
Yep.
Jesuit.
And the one, the only Linda Blair. The
What
12-year-old.
most famous role? Like, is this?
Oh yeah, yeah. Poor Linda Blair, man. Like, she's doing good now. I follow her on Facebook. Like, she's always at the horror convention. She didn't do that for a while. She charges. I was at a horror convention and she was there, and I said I got to get a picture with her, but the line was 200 people, and it was $100 for the picture, or $150, and I was like, I can't afford it. So it's about a demonic possession of a young girl. There's two Catholic priests who exorcise her, an old priest and a young priest. Now let's talk a little bit about the curse of this movie. So when they were making this movie, they had a lot of problems. First, they could not cast the girl. Whenever they would think they got Reagan, they would back out.
Hmm.
The parents would say no. This once they read the script and they got to certain scenes, they're like, no. There's over 130 girls tried out for this.
Well, and think about it, it makes sense. I mean, especially with the who Linda Blair gets eventually cast as Reagan,
Yeah.
it has to act through, right? I think it makes sense.
They gave it to her because she was so mature. And if you see interviews of Linda Blair at the premiere of the movie, she's only 12 or maybe she was 14. She's so mature. It's like an adult talking. She was like a little bit ahead of her time. Um, so she got the part. Um, I'm gonna leave. We'll talk off the air. I told you the story, what they asked her.
Hmm.
That horrible scene, what she has to do with a certain object. You
Hmm.
know, she knew the answer, but anyway. Uh, so many cast and crew members were injured and even died while making this movie. So, like, how does that make you feel? Like when you hear that, like, there was definitely somebody trying to make this movie not be made.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was some unusual accidents. Yeah, because the movie was, yeah, plagued from the start. So I think it has entered into history. One of those movies that, the background behind it is so famous, and that's one of it. Yeah, it's kind of supernatural. And was it trying to be stopped? I know we made the argument, if I God wanted this movie,
Oh
you know,
yeah, yeah.
would there be some
I
inter
think it was like, God wanted it and the demon maybe wanted to stop it, but
yeah,
because in the end the devil loses.
yeah.
Always. If the devil won at the end, there might have not been any problems with it. My uncle, God rest his soul, who passed away, worked for York Air Conditioning in the
Okay.
city at the time. And he was young. He was like in his early 20s. And he didn't work on The Exorcist, but he said his company did. And he said they used air conditioning in that movie to make it so cold. So
Hmm.
so it was they were freezing in that movie. When you see the scenes where there's smoke coming out of their mouth, that's
Yeah.
real air, that's air conditioning.
Right.
So they unplugged everything, went home for the night, but the next day everything was frozen and everything was unplugged. They did not. They almost York almost pulled out of doing it because they were like, wait, somebody played a joke. This is a joke. And they said, no, the studio was locked. It was closed. Nobody got in here. So that's always my memory. My uncle always telling me that story. Um, so where am I? So many people thought the movie was cursed. Not the first movie to be cursed, because Poltergeist probably was cursed as well.
There's a bunch of movies that are infamous.
Yeah. Um, so when the movie hit theaters, it messed up people's minds. I mean, people would be passing out in the aisles. One in Italy, people had heart attacks. People were vomiting. They were running out,
Well, it's
crying.
weird. Like, why was that, you think? And I know you actually experienced the movie not when it came out, but like, why?
Um, I think because at that time, and this will we'll go back to like the first real satanic movie, Rosemary's Baby. Okay, we talked about this off screen. Now, Rosemary's Baby is like Disneyland next to this movie.
Oh
The only
yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
only the only thing that creeped me out about Rosemary's Baby is the cradle. It was all black. It had that black cross on it, but you
Hmm.
know, so prior to this now, 1970, you had all the hippies, love and peace, and then but then there's a movement that comes out that's pretty dark. You have, well, let's just talk about the music scene. You have like Sabbath comes out, and they're dark, and there's Lucifers in their lyrics and stuff,
Yeah.
and Satan, and of course stupid people put them in that world, which is just idiotic. you know whenever priests or people say, "Oh, don't play with Luigi boards, don't play with tarot cards, and don't listen to heavy metal." And I'm just like, well, if heavy metal's hell, then I'm in hell. I must be on my way, you know. But so you had the Manson murders a couple years before that. You had Vietnam. You had all this negative shit. You had a guy named Anton LaVey who just put out the Satanic Bible. So there's groups of satanic cults popping up all over the world, all over United States, doing crazy shit. So Satan is on the minds of people. You know, they know what's going on, you know, especially from the Manson murders. So when a movie comes out, and mostly I think like maybe a lot of people that went to these movies were religious and were curious,
Right.
and to see this movie, it just did something to them psychologically that they had to leave. And it's funny, you go on YouTube and you can look at the old interviews of people. One girl just sat in a corner crying. She was just like, so, like, it was like she witnessed it in person, you know. Heart in Italy, people had heart attacks. They had the ambulance there. So a lot of bad stuff happened. Now, The Conjuring, The Last Rites try to jump on this. You saw it, and nothing like The Exorcist. Nothing where you're gonna pass out.
Well, that's the thing. It makes me wonder because I mean, and the movie's not like the chainsaw, the Texas
Yeah,
chainsaw massacre. That movie's horrific. I mean, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
or even I would argue a zombie movie with those gross scenes, right? That will make you, if you have a weak stomach, you're gonna throw up.
yeah.
But no, but it's interesting. This movie, and it makes me think. I wonder if it did have some supernatural effect on people, and
What,
it's
The Conjuring one?
no,
The
The Conjuring is
Oh,
nothing.
yeah.
Talking
No,
about
the
the
one, no, the one that you just saw. They had ambulances outside. They really went with the whole like, let's scare people,
no,
and
but you know what's funny? But it, I don't think that reaction was happening.
no, no, not at all. I
And
mean,
it's big similar when people saw the Passion of the Christ, where people had physiological reactions. Like I remember in the news when people saw Passion, had a heart attack in the movie theater.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And now he's not the only one. This movie had something similar, so it makes me wonder, like, as to like, we kind of talked about it's a religious movie. Is it
yeah,
a real? Is there a unveiling of like something that was released when this movie came out?
yeah. Because in our minds, when it comes to Jesus Christ, the Passion of Christ, we all have a thought what it would have been like at the crucifixion, but to actually see it, Mel Gibson almost, it was almost like a documentary of like watching Jesus getting crucified. I couldn't watch. I had trouble with that, watching that.
Right.
I had a hard time. I cried. I was like, this what this man did for us, our sins, how he died, and to see it like on camera. I mean, that's as close as it's gonna get, you know. So Jesus is always there, and of course the other guy, the devil's always there, and the devil gets unleashed in The Exorcist. So it's all psychological, and your upbringing. If you're not a Catholic, Passion of Christ might not mean anything, and if you're like an atheist, The Exorcist might it's all like, oh, it's horror, it's all make believe. You know, it's all what your psychological mind. Um, it got an R rating, was given an X rating, and they had to fight for that because nobody would go see it because children were not allowed to see the movie at all. Now, check this out. It grossed, when it came out in 1973, this is a lot of money in 1973. 1,000, nine, one, $193 million dollars it
Mhm.
made in 1973. That's probably close to a billion in
I was
our
gonna say
time.
$1,000.
Huh?
I was gonna say just $1,000.
Yeah, yeah. One thousand nine hundred and my brain is shot. One, $193 million is probably equivalent to almost $1 billion, right? In the
Yeah.
70s.
Oh, it's a lot of money. I mean, not yeah.
I mean, it's probably double, like quadruple that, and during those times. And it
Yeah, yeah.
sold. in all the years, re-releases, DVDs for $441 million. You know,
Mm.
so it's listed as the greatest horror movie of all time. And we're going to talk about that. It being it is a horror movie. We're not saying it's not, but there's a deeper meaning to this that I learned from doing my research. So it opens up in northern Iraq. Father Merrick takes. I'm going to just briefly give this because this is too much to go through the whole friggin' movie. You know what I mean? I'm going to just summarize
Yeah.
it quickly. Um, it opens up in northern Iraq. Father Merrick takes a part in the archaeological dig, and he finds the ancient ruins of Hatru. And he finds a statue of a winged being, and that winged being is the cult of Pazuzu. And we will, at the end, we will talk about Pazuzu and why he was chosen to be the demon to be in this. It's actually interesting. Um, Now, the other priest, Damien Karras, is it Carrick or Karras, right? Karras.
Yeah. Karis, yeah.
He's a priest, but he's interesting because he's also a psychologist.
Mhm.
And that's a very important part of this movie. So he visits his sick mom in New York, and later confined to a colleague. He's having a crisis, and there's a scene when he's talking to the colleague, and Reagan's mother, I forget her name, uh, Ellen Bernstein, walks by. Now, I don't know if Reagan is already possessed, I forget, but she sees him really deeply talking to this guy, and he's having this conflict going on. You know, that's what makes this movie genius. She's about to approach a priest who's not sure he wants to be a priest anymore, but nothing is said. Nothing is said, you know. There's some scenes in the movie that are just I don't know, I'm just there's like improvising right now, but just like there's complete silence in the movie for about a minute, and it's just so creepy. Like that's
Mhm.
genius. Then there's a dude on the street, like a drunk and or bum, and he's like, Father Karras is walking by. He's like, "Hey, Father, could you help an old altar boy?" As he left the Exorcist, you know, as he left the house. So scenes like that stuck with me. When the mother's in the kitchen, and she's walking, and then like the stove, there's a demonic face of Pazuzu, who
Mm.
actually looks like some dude from a death metal band. Now, if you look at it, it's kind of comical, you know, but the original death metal makeup or Kiss makeup. Maybe Kiss saw that and said, "Wait a second, we gotta look like Pazuzu."
People are getting inspired.
You know, maybe Gene Simmons like, we gotta take that Pazuzu makeup.
And I
Literally,
know
look, look.
a lot of people thought they were demonic.
Oh yeah, well Gene Simmons looks demonic, man. When you
Oh,
watch him move on stage and he's doing that, bass solo with his tongue sticking out and he's hitting the bass notes and he's got the head.
yeah.
He's pretty creepy, you know. Genius though, genius band. So I lost my train of thought. So he's telling the other priest he's having a crisis in faith. Keep that in mind.
By the way, that's a core idea because this priest counsels priests, right? He's a psychiatrist
Yeah, yeah,
and smart. He's a Jesuit. Jesuits are learned people, famously, work at universities and schools. So
yeah.
he's very learned and
Very intelligent priest.
very intelligent. And then, but he's having, and yeah, you're right. That's the core of the movie. How this person, who you would think, oh, you know, oh, he believes he's gonna come to the rescue. No, he actually, our main hero is kind of like skeptical.
He's doubting. He's doubting
Doubt
his belief system.
he even doubts exorcisms anymore. There's we're jumping ahead, but yeah, he's having this crisis of faith, which again, we're gonna argue that the movie, yes, it's a horror movie because it is showing the demonic. Anything that has to do with the demonic is automatically horror, right?
Yeah, and
But
just looking at Reagan's face and her gestures and her growl and everything, it's a horror movie in
but
that
the
sense.
movie is like theological and philosophical in that it's crisis of faith, and our main character is gonna find it
Yeah,
in the darkest pits. You know, think Dante's Inferno. I mean,
exactly.
metaphorically, it's dark, it's cold, you know, so he's gonna go on it's kind of like Dante in a way. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like the Divine Comedy,
Yeah,
and he's gonna go on a journey. And I love how you say he meets eye contact with another character who is an atheist agnostic, like not really a believer. Uh,
yeah.
by the end of the movie, become a believer.
Oh yeah, because Reagan's mom and they're not Catholic at all.
No,
They don't no, they're
oh,
probably atheists.
which is great. It provides the Exorcist with a very realistic angle that I feel. And again, the Conjuring movies are good, but I feel sometimes they forget or some movies that deal with possessions, you forget the faith angle.
Mm,
Like they do it for show, and they show like it's kind of cringe. One of the, I mean, I kind of laugh at it when in the Conjuring movies, and not only the Conjuring movies is guilty of this. When they see the demonic, you'll see the crosses go upside down.
yeah.
Like, okay, first of all, the demons, first of all, would not touch that. First of all.
No, they can't touch anything religious.
No, they're afraid of that. Like
Yeah.
they don't. So and obviously, The Exorcist does also have a few inaccuracies, you know. But this movie is more. That's why I think it's so frightening because it has this realistic edge to it.
Yeah.
This could happen, which you know. you-
And there's another thing, they never bring up Reagan's father,
No, no, which is a mystery.
which is a mystery, and I like that. It makes you wonder, was there anything going on
Yeah.
in the house that could have caused, obviously we're going to get into it, it's a Ouija board, but maybe there was some other bad shit going on. Maybe he left because he was abusive, did other shit,
Yeah.
just
Gotta
throwing
leave
it
it
out there, just using my imagination. And I love the fact they don't bring up a father. It's just a single parent.
Well, it's that idea of a lack of a father figure, which can be so detrimental, right? Like psychologically, but
Yeah.
then spiritually in the movie, talk about we know Father Karras, the fathers, the priests are there, right? To
Yeah.
shepherd their flock. And we have a girl who lacks a father, who
Yeah.
probably needs a father, does not have one. And perhaps, you know, as we still see though, it communicates with some sort of spirit, but you know, in search of some sort of maybe fatherly figure, searches in the wrong places. And who knows what happened to the father? We don't know. But then in comes Father Karras, right? And then Father Max von Sydow's father character, who represent, you know, spiritual fatherhood. And like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's kind of cool. It's like a puzzle piece.
And now you got me thinking, also the father not being there. How do we know it's Pazuzu? Do they say it? Is it ever mentioned?
Honestly, no.
Only in the beginning.
Oh,
In the
no, and it's crazy because they added those scenes. Like, you know, there's some scenes that were added,
Yeah,
and
the crawling up and down the
yeah,
stairs. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no, there's no mention. And if anything, that Pazuzu character is fascinating because we're gonna take a look at, you know, it's kind of mythological, based on
Yeah.
Mesopotamian gods, but no, he's not really.
He's mentioned only in the beginning
Yeah,
when the old priest is Max von Sydow's in southern Iraq, and he picks up a winged statue. Now, nobody in the audience knows the winged statue is Pazuzu. Like, unless you're studying mythology and you're, a professor or a fucking Satanist or into witchcraft, you might say, "Oh, that's Pazuzu." But that's the only clue they give you. So how do
mhm.
we even know? I mean, obviously, William Blatty admitted it was Pazuzu, and we'll get into that. But just food for thought on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So interesting facts. Where's the dad? And really, Pazuzu's not mentioned at all. So these are, kind of important points, I think. Um, so Reagan's mother and Reagan, they start using, well, the mother starts using the Ouija board. and I guess Reagan finds it, right? And then because I don't know if I'm getting this part right. It's I watched it, but I don't remember. So the mother's using the Ouija board, and then Reagan finds the Ouija board and starts playing with it.
Oh, I thought Reagan was playing with it and
But
shows the mother.
but the mother, I think, had something to do with the Ouija. Like, why was there a Ouija board in the house? You know what I mean? I
I
know. I think Reagan just plays with it, right?
Yeah, in the movie, but she's like doing it with the mother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, her and the mother are doing it together.
Yeah.
Um, so they're playing with the Ouija board. Which once again, I talked about this. They should be taken off the market. There's a store in Mamaroneck, the toy box, and I went in there, and I looked, and I was buying my kid some Pokemon shit, and my kid's jogging. The kid was little, Look, Dad, a Ouija board, and I'm like, I said to the people, I said, why do you sell that? And they looked at me like I'm nuts. Like, oh. But I'm like, why do you like? Why would you? It's not a game. Like, even if it is a game, like I don't know, Monopoly or Life. It's a game where something of an unknown force is spelling out words.
Yeah, yeah.
So how is that positive? And the guy's like, well, he's like, you ever done a Ouija board? It's not real. The person somebody's pushing it. You got to lightly put your fingers on the thing. I ain't buying it. I think they should be banned, unless you know how to use a Ouija board and you have protection. I know there's people out there that use it every day and they know how to use it, but I don't think I don't think they're positive, in my opinion, from my experience. So the Ouija board she's playing with, and that's how the demon comes in. It's a doorway to the devil. And this demon comes out. I love the name Captain Howdy.
Right.
Spells out Captain Howdy. And the great Twisted Sister had a song on Stay Hungry. Got to put the music in. You got to throw the music in the Cheech and Manny Show called Captain Howdy. And it's pretty scary song. D. Snyder really, is creepy on it. And that is Pazuzu. So not right away, because when you get possessed, it doesn't happen right away. From my research, it creeps in on you. It
Yeah.
starts to take its toll. It's like a germ, works
Yeah.
its way into your body, and then finally, when you're at the most vulnerable state, bam, it comes out. It comes out in you. So Reagan starts to get physical changes, and she starts to become a little bit more evil. Her
Mm.
bed starts shaking. Then the shit kicks in. Oh, Jesus. Uh then the shit hits the fan.
Mhm.
Um the the superhuman strength, and then a dark evil voice starts to come out of her, and now her mom is freaked out. Now explain the three important things that you need to be possessed by a demon, Manny.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So theologically, and it's funny because in the movie, these are probably some of the most hard to watch scenes
Yeah.
when you actually see a person possess. And it makes me think like one of before I talk about that, like one of the weird scenes is like during a party, um Reagan walks down and starts like to urinate on the carpet.
That's another creepy, whacked out
It's
scene.
creepy the way they do it. Like it's creepy.
She's on a staircase looking down. Now, none the priests aren't there yet, right?
No, I think there is a priest
There was a
character there.
priest there, but that had nothing to
That
do
made me
with.
rethink. I'm not sure if the mother was an atheist. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think there was some sort of priest character there.
Yeah, there's a Catholic figure. There's a religious figure there. Let's put it that way. And she's looking down, creeped out, and all of a sudden she pees and has the white gown on, and and that scene got to me too. Like that scene made me like what the hell? Why is she peeing?
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
weird, and the way they film it, it's like so realistic, but it's strange. It's kind of uncanny. But yeah, but going back to the according to Exorcist, and I hope you know never happens to either one of us, but first changes in voice. I think that's a common one.
Yeah.
Uh, knowledge of other languages, particularly Aramaic, Latin, and sometimes Greek, when the,
In Hebrew.
and Hebrew,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they should have no knowledge of this.
And they have it, and they're talking in it full, like dialect,
Yeah,
everything. Because
stereo.
Latin,
Yeah,
I've been studying Latin, just to throw some Latin words at the temple when people aggravate me, and I can't even say the words right. And there's a thing, if you put in a word on Google like Latin, you could kind of like repeat the word. You hear the recording.
yeah,
I can't even do it. I can't even say
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
dialect.
Yeah, no, and it's weird because this would be knowledge of foreign languages that,
Yeah.
again, person that's not studied. And you're right. I mean, I know some prayers in Latin, like Ave Maria, and it's just memory. I think we talked about this, but like
Yeah.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu inter mulieribus. But it's straight. But to speak, I mean,
Yeah, and it's a scary language when you hear it. Like it's
it,
like
it is.
it's
It's actually
freaking creepy.
it's creepy, and they also say that when Jesus was crucified and they nailed Latin, remember that sign over the
Yeah,
cross in Latin, they pretty much that language now became a sacred language, right? So at
yeah.
the moment, anything attached to the cross,
Well, my mom told me that up until the 70s, mass was always in Latin.
it was, yeah. And sadly, that was kind of like sort of like worn away or like more frowned upon after the
Yeah,
1960s. You probably heard of it, Second Vatican Council, which
yeah,
that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, knowledge of foreign languages the person hasn't studied. And I think we said Hebrew. And I usually say Aramaic, which is an
yeah.
offshoot.
Oh, yeah, definitely Aramaic.
And by the fun fact, the Passion of the Christ is spoken in Aramaic, most of the
Yeah,
right? So it's kind of cool. You can hear it for our fans out there. Knowledge of hidden things. When they know things they should not know, especially of
yeah.
other people, especially people they just met. You
Mhm.
know, I know
And
you
they know your deeper secrets.
right.
Like they know when your last confession was.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was
yeah.
a story of a priest that went into an exorcism without getting confession. Priests always got to go to confession before an exorcism.
They
'Cause-
do. Most exorcists will say that because you go in there and the person, the demon knows you're done. Like it's over. Like
yeah,
it's
this story is crazy. So the priest went in, he forgot to get confession, and then the demon looked right at him, and he said to him, "Oh, I know your last sin, and it's really bad, and I'm gonna tell it." So the priest said, "Get out of here now and go get confession." The priest comes back and he says to the possessed person, "Do you know this guy?" He goes, "Never seen him before." So he didn't recognize him because he was clean. He was cleansed of those sins.
wow.
And I was like, that is freaking heavy. And this was I forgot, might have been Malachi Martin or the guy with the M, Father
It's not Malachi. I don't think it's
my
Malachi.
forgot who it was. It's a popular guy.
Okay.
Um, well exercised, many people. And he says like, and he talks about tradition. Like I think I sent it to you. Like so, if your culture, if you're into Santeria, there's a demon for voodoo and Santeria, and if you're more Western, and you're into like European stuff like tarot cards or Ouija, there's a demon for that. And he brought that up, which I thought was fascinating, because people are possessed all over the freaking world. And it's not necessarily from Ouija boards.
Mhm.
Okay.
Also got extraordinary strength.
Yep.
So that's saying unusual strength.
Extraordinary. Could pick up the
Well,
bureau in my room and throw it at,
most
my
exorcists
daughter.
do that,
Yeah.
with strength. Levitation also is a thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not how you know for a fact. And then finally,
Yeah.
aversion to sacred things like a crucifix, holy water,
Yep.
into the Blessed Virgin Mary as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You nailed it, man. It's awesome. So when are you gonna do your first exorcism? You got all
No,
the facts down?
no, dude, I am good.
um,
It's like one of those things I would never want to see. I'm good.
oh yeah, I know because I can't imagine. So
Well,
it's like,
and that would make sense why The Exorcist is a horror movie because you're seeing something that you would never want to see.
and that's why they never film one because everyone's like, oh, if it's for real, why don't you film it?
Would you want to see an Exorcist? Like,
No, no, I would not. I would not want to see it. You
I'm
know,
good. Yeah.
because I seen the movie and it took me 48 years to get over it. Could you imagine seeing a real one?
I,
I mean,
I dude, I'd rather just listen to Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden and just call it a day. I'm good.
I'd rather listen to like some black metal, or King Diamond. That's the closest I'm ever gonna get to.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but I would definitely listen to like Black Sabbath too, like Black Sabbath.
Yeah, but to me, that's a story. Like
Right.
that's all stories. Some of the darker metal bands are actually
Maybe talk about the death metal. Yeah.
the real deal. They're saying go out and worship the devil and stuff. So a psychiatrist comes in. They take her to the hospital, Georgetown Hospital. She has no mental illness. So then they say we got to bring in a priest because she's doing everything you said. Okay, we don't have to repeat it. So they bring in the two Catholic priests and they start the exorcism. Father Damien Karras, a psychiatrist who is losing faith, and
Mhm.
Father Marin, the older priest, a young priest and an old priest. Um, so they come in, they start the exorcism. They start the exorcism. Now Reagan is starting to speak um, in Latin, I guess in tongues. Could you explain what that means?
Yeah, so what speaking in tongues is, it usually sounds like gibberish,
Yeah,
right? Or it's like, so there's a few things with it. First, it's believed to be like languages like unknown to the speaker, right? So when you hear it, it kind of sounds like blah 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 blah, blah like or some sort of like weird noises, right?
yeah,
Okay, so first you find it in like I don't know if you ever seen like in a Pentecostal or charismatic church when they're speaking in tongues. Have you ever seen that? That's a thing.
yeah. I've seen videos. I changed it. It's too creepy.
And it's funny, I mean it's Christianity, it's a form of, I don't really believe in it, but apparently people can do it. But anyway, but in the demonic world, that could be possible. It's like it's just like, it sounds funny if you were to hear it, but it's
Yeah,
it's just strange. Like it's not any language one could recognize.
yeah.
And I'm not saying it is a language, but
Did they ever try to analyze it?
yeah, linguists have. They actually have a scientific name for it.
So it's making sense. There's a sense to it. Like it's not just
Oh
gibberish.
no, usually not. And it sounds like gibberish.
Yeah,
And the idea goes behind that. It's kind of interesting. I'm trying to remember the Exorcist movie where was that in the movie?
yeah, yeah. She's
I can't
speaking.
remember.
Um,
You remember the scene? Because I'm
I
blanking
don't
out.
remember the scene, and it came up in my research that she spoke in tongues and she spoke in another in Latin and other things in the movie.
Okay.
Or I could be mixing it up with the book. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's some things they might have cut out. I'm see. I shouldn't have like took things from the book and the movie because they did change it a little bit. But
I,
everything I'm saying is factual, so I don't know in the movie if she spoke in Aramaic.
Right.
I do believe she speaks in Latin in the movie.
I have to remember because speaking in tongues is interesting. That would be a little off. So usually in Christianity, there are sects, right?
Yeah.
There is a belief that people can speak in tongues, and they got it from in the Bible, in the book of Acts, which occurs after the Gospels. There is a scene that with when the Holy Spirit descended upon the apostles and the Virgin Mary, right? Um, they began speaking in tongues, but some Christians think that it's the speaking of tongues that we're talking about. It's just like language that it's like it sounds like speech, but it isn't. But that's not quite right. The apostles and the Virgin Mary actually got the ability to speak multiple languages, even languages that, of course, they wouldn't understand with each other. For example,
Right.
Greek, Hebrew, Chinese. Um, they began to speak in these tongues.
Right. Right. Right.
So there are certain Christians that kind of like skewed this. So if it wasn't the Exorcist, that would be interesting. But it would have been. I have to, and it's so funny. I should have rewatched the movie, but it's more accurate to say that she was speaking Latin or Aramaic. That would
Okay.
have sense.
Okay. I don't know where I got that from, but very good lesson on that because I was always curious about that.
You ever seen that cheese? Like the you should YouTube it.
I did. I don't like it.
I mean, I don't want to like. I mean, I don't want to offend
I
anybody. It's like I was watching an episode of I think it's with Morgan Freeman, The Story of God, where he kind of explores different
Yeah.
religions, and he goes into it looks like a Pentecostal Christian church, and you see them. They'll be they put their hands up and go, like they'll dude. I'm not kidding. You should YouTube it.
No, I seen it and it creeped me out and it
It's
almost
creepy.
sounds like in the movie Bruce Almighty when he makes a news.
The Steve Carell character, dude, that's what it is. So I'm saying, like in this movie, that wouldn't be right. Reagan would be speaking, Abu Dhabi sector, but like Latin, like,
Yeah.
and we were like, whoa, what, or Aramaic, like the
Yeah.
only Aramaic word I know is Jesus was Yeshua,
Yeah, meaning Jesus.
Mashiach, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that would be unusual. But no, but speaking in tongues is
I
if
don't
there's a
even
movie.
know if she spoke in Latin. I mean, because there's so much
I don't
route.
think they put that in there. As far as I know, I could be wrong. What Reagan does do, or Pazuzu, or the demon, and by the way, he identifies himself as the devil, not even Pazuzu, which is another
Yeah.
misprint. But what he does do is impersonate people, like
Oh yeah, he mimic. Well,
mimic.
and the famous scene is when he Father Carrick's mother comes out of her. And she's like, and this is God rest my soul, Dave Torrey. We always do this at my friend Dave Torrey would do this at the temple. And I used to say this to people when I would get mad. Damie, why you do this to me? Damie. Like we would always joke, like we would be at work and somebody would piss us off and we'd go, Damie, why you do this to me? And if you've seen the movie, they would look at you like, you fucking freak. You know what I mean? Like, so, but she comes through as his mother, as a mimicking demon. And that goes into the Smurls, the movie you just saw, The Last Rites. There was that mimicking demon where they would call, like if my mother,
That's where they got it
oh
from.
my
Yeah.
God, I just got a thing, Google, The Conjuring Last Rites. That was weird. That was odd.
Did you
And
did you press the Google voice or something?
no, it just said Conjuring Last Rites. That was creepy. Okay. So forget about what I'm going to say. We'll just move on.
Let's move
Um,
on.
um, she's speaking in the guttural thing, you know, her head is spinning. I don't know how true that's never been documented, I don't think, in a real case. That was Hollywood, and
Yeah.
that's the classic horror scene besides the other one,
Yeah.
which we won't talk about. Um, so Father Karras' mother comes through her, and that makes him feel more guilty. You know, his mother, he wasn't there when she died. She died, and Father Karras was at the exorcism. He didn't go
Yeah,
and see his mother die.
yeah.
A lot of guilt. Now this is odd. So she vomits on the priest. Now, not a demonologist, and from studying Roland Doe's case,
Yeah.
it said, I don't know where she vomits in the movie, but when you vomit like that, projectile vomit, and I've done it many times in my life, and it wasn't from a demon, it was from another type of spirit.
Night of
Um,
debauchery.
yeah. Um, she it means the demon it's over. Yeah, I said it with Roland Dole. It means the demon is over. That you're projectiling the poison.
It was funny. I never heard of that. I could be wrong. I'm not like in. That's interesting because I never heard of that. And like
Yeah,
vomiting is a thing, especially something that's foaming from the mouth. Um, but yeah, that's interesting.
I read that in a couple demonology sites, and it said it in the Roland Doe when I was doing my
Sure you
research on
didn't read
Roland
it
Doe.
in the anti-LaVey handbook or something?
No, actually, believe it or not, I'm not sticking up for Anton LaVey, but the Satanic Bible is not as demonic as people may think it is. Like
As an aside, why is it in the Satanic Bible? Now, remind me, is that the one that Dahmer has in his bedside?
he does.
So what
I,
is it inside that? I'm never gonna buy it nor open
it,
it.
it,
Also, you read
I
it?
I've read parts of it because there's a disclaimer in it. Just out of interest, I didn't own it. I knew a psycho person who wanted to join a satanic cult, and I tried to talk him out of it. Um, and he had it by his bed, and I said, "Let me look at this thing," you know. And I watch many documentaries on LaVey because I find LaVey fascinating. I just do. And I don't think LaVey would ever want to harm anyone. He wasn't a satanic that was gonna like the son of Sam,
Yeah.
the 22 disciples of hell. That was kill. LaVey, I don't think, and I am not on LaVey's side. I'm not a Satanist. But from what I read, there's like the book of Satan, the book of Lucifer, the book of Leviathan, and another one. He breaks it up into the Gospels. It's a mock. It's a mock, which is fucked up and wrong. But there's nothing in it that's real evil, like go out and kill people, go out and do this. I did not get any of from what I read. It was just, I mean, Crowley has so much more meaning when you read Thelema than LaVey does in that book. But I think people took that book, and you can misinterpret. You can misinterpret it. I didn't see anything really like go out and harm
But
people. Go out and
what's in it? Like what's in it? Like what?
I don't remember exactly. It just broken up. Like he gives you the history of Satan. Basically, it's a history lesson to some degree. Then how Lucifer fell, and then how Leviathan became a demon, and then how to maybe summon them. That's the bad part. You know what I mean? How to bring them to life, that kind of thing. So there's definitely some bad shit in it. But from what I read, I was not like you know, like expecting to see like this is how you cut a goat. Oh, my door just opened.
Really?
Oh, it's Mr. Black.
Oh, that's scary.
You heard it, right?
No, no, I thought like whoa. I thought it
No.
was something else.
But I didn't get anything that creeped me out too much in the Satanic Bible, except for maybe some of the summoning, but I didn't read it enough. I just thought it was interesting how he broke it up into four gospels. And I always found him interesting, like a Crowley kind of guy, but Crowley was way more evil and darker, but also spiritual. And LaVey was more of like he wanted a movement of a counterculture. And I
Mm,
think people took it the wrong way. They took it the wrong way. And now a modern day Satanist doesn't even read Anton LaVey,
right.
so it's like being a jazz musician and not reading a book called The Real Book. I mean, if you're going to be a Satanist, you got to go back to LaVey. I don't condone that at all. If you're going to
Mhm.
be a religion a Catholic, you got to read the Bible, but I don't want to get on a rampage on Anton, but definitely watch some of his documentaries. They're fascinating. He's a fascinating guy. He really is, you know. But he never hurt anybody. He never did anything negative. So Um, so let me see. Where were we? So Father Karras' mother comes through her. He feels guilty. He wasn't there for her death. She vomits on the priest. Her head spins. We know what she does with the cross. We're going to keep it G. They try so hard to get the demon out of her. They're not having any luck. The demon does say he wants Reagan dead. So the demon wants its host dead. That's the bottom line. They want to kill the host, So I'm gonna jump pretty quick. I pretty much, that's the basics of the movie. Father Marin dies of a heart attack because of the demon. The demon gave him a heart attack. And then Father Karras demands the demon to jump into him. He gets possessed, and then we all know what he does. He jumps out the window, and he dies. Reagan is now free. Father Karras throws himself out the window, and Father Karras sacrificed his own life for the innocence of this child. And at the very end, Reagan is given the St. Joseph Medal. So that's like, my quick review. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Dude, pretty good, man. I mean, I would say our viewers, well, make sure you're of age, but watch the movie if you haven't seen it. If you've been living
Yeah.
under.
And I didn't leave a lot out. I left the graphics out. I left out
Well,
the important.
honestly, that could be for us its own episode. I mean, we could talk about in another episode like more of the details of there was some of the scary scenes and honestly there are some scary scenes and like the filming or whatever, but yeah, no, that was really good. And I think and also I just want to mention one scene that's pretty interesting is when Reagan, who by the way, after she is exorcised, having no knowledge or memory of what
Yeah.
happened,
It's a,
kisses
re-
the
it's a
priest.
yeah.
It's one of the most sweetest scenes,
Yeah.
and kind of, kind of, I guess, reconciles or mends the trust in a priest's father character or person,
Yeah.
which is fascinating to me.
It's amazing, how you have no memory of what just happened. It's like kind of like being drunk, the next day you're like, what? I did this, I did that, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, there's sometimes say drunkenness is a sort of demon.
Oh, believe me, I know. But
Kids,
anyway,
don't drink out there.
no, kids don't drink. Uh or do any other things. But now let's get to the point, the main point of the movie. So we got through the horror, we got through the head spinning, the vomiting, the awful thing she does with a crucifix. The gutter. Even the thing that got me the most is the growls.
Mm.
The guttural sound.
It's
Oh,
the
and
sound of it. Yeah, it's horrible.
forgot to mention the sound effects. They would use crazy stuff like, when you scratch your hands on a chalkboard. They
Yeah.
would do that and triple it and quadruple it. They would go get the sound of pigs and have them grunting and then lower it to the lowest pitch it could go. And I
Yeah.
believe there was an actor that actually did the voice of Reagan.
Oh
They
yeah.
had, yeah, there was somebody that
Yeah. It was an older woman, I believe. Yeah, to get that effect.
yeah. So like, God, I would not want to meet her. you know,
Have you
God.
been married to or her?
Yeah, she yells at you. God. She was married to somebody, poor bastard. So let's get to we're getting okay. We talked about the horror,
Yeah.
which is what it makes the movie a horror movie.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the real meaning of the movie. What's
Yeah.
the real meaning of this movie that our viewers
Yeah.
won't know because they're going to be seeing the visuals and that's going to mess their heads up that they're not going to see the meaning unless
They're
you're
gonna
really super intelligent and you get it.
yeah,
I
they're gonna
wasn't. I wasn't. I had to study this.
or they're gonna hear, oh, it's the scariest movie. They're gonna watch it and like it's not scary. Waiting for jump scares or even though like
Yeah.
there are some scares in that, but not as one would think, especially in comparison with like the modern horror movie. And I
Yeah.
agree with you, but at the core, it is a spiritual movie.
It's a spiritual movie. People went back to church for the first time. Churches were packed. And the movie came out the day after Christmas, which is so messed up, right? Like they had to put it out the day after Christmas. Uh, and it church's attendance rose. So the Catholic Church was happy with that. Catholic Church hated the movie, condoned it, didn't want people to go and see it. Some priests did because they wanted you to learn about demonic possession. Um, my catechism class, they would not talk about it. I was always the fucking like little rebel. I was always the kid that like I brought up Holy Blood, Holy Grail, which is even worse than The Exorcist. It's like the concept is Jesus got married and he started the Merovingian bloodline in France. Oh my God. They were like, don't ever bring that Merovingian stuff up because Jesus died on the cross. He never had kids with Mary Magdalene. That's blasphemy. What is wrong with you? It's that music you listen to. You know what I mean? Yeah, Iron Maiden singing about the Merovingians. Yeah, dude. Okay, all right. Anyway, but I think the important thing you got to get out of this movie is the priest who loses faith. We don't know why he's losing faith. They don't say why, do they?
Um, the his mother is and talk about again like you know in the Catholic Church you have the Virgin Mary, right? It was like the mother of all.
Yeah.
But in the movie, he's guilty about the mother, and that's one of the triggers, I think. Remember what he does to
Yeah.
the mother? He puts her in a
Home.
he
Yeah.
institutionalizes her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he's probably thinking, "Wow, God, why'd you let this happen?" And
Right.
I could be wrong. I think doesn't he do some assisted suicide to her or no? End her suffering? Is that a thing, or did I make that up?
I'm not sure. I just know there was so much guilt
Feels
that he,
guilty.
yeah, with his
Take
mother.
advantage of that.
Yeah. Um, so the fact that he's losing faith, but then takes the ultimate sacrifice for the innocents,
Yeah.
makes the demon jump into him and he doesn't want to be possessed. He kills himself. So the movie's about having faith and then the love of a mother for its child.
Yeah.
And having the sacrifice to sacrifice one's life to get evil out of you. So that's the real meaning of this. You agree? You agree with me on that?
Oh, I agree with you 100%. It's funny, it's like a telephone ring. Hold
Oh,
on.
that sounded evil.
Oh, that's not yes. And it's like
Mm.
that lady's voice.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
mother.
your mother's already
Yeah. Oh
um
God, the
yo,
vulgar language was bad too. Yeah.
I agree with you. And if anything, people need to watch this. If anything, I feel like people need to watch this movie nowadays because in order to restore their trust in the priests, which, as you know, due to certain events, without going into too much detail, the trust in priests have been shaken, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Not going too much detail because hopefully, with younger audiences out there and stuff. But yeah, so I love how the movie at the core of that if anything, I love how it's weird because the ending is sweet.
yeah. It's a beautiful ending.
Damien
You know.
and Father Karras, I get him, man. Like he shook up. I mean, and especially during that time, you know how you said the masses were in Latin, that was disappearing, and like the Second Vatican Council and the Catholic Church sort of like brought a lot of like modernization.
Yeah,
You know, he even says to the mother, we don't really believe in exorcists anymore. It's not a thing. That's more mental.
yeah, yeah.
even the mom's like, "What are you talking about? But you're a priest, right?" Like,
Yeah.
what?
Like most priests can't handle an exorcism. They have to bring
Oh,
in, you know,
oh, it's crazy because most don't become an exorcist. You're called.
yeah.
Because it's so funny, interviewers who obviously are like the woman character, the mother in The Exorcist, they'll ask exorcists on, and make sure for our viewers out there, watch these podcasts if you want to get a good insight into this. They'll be like, "So how did you become an exorcist? Did you want to become, did you sign up for it?" And they're like, "No, I would never have signed up for this, but I was called."
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think, and Damien Karras, Father Damien Karras, is called. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so ironic how. And we forgot to talk about Max von Sydow's priest, the older one.
Yeah. He had experience with exorcisms in the movie.
Right. And he was like in the movie, he was one of the few that knew the rights, right? And
And I think Pazuzu knew him from that statue. There was a connection.
no, dude, that's the point of that scene. That's actually the point in that, especially I love the scene when you see the statue of Pazuzu, who by the way is mythological, but is based on those Mesopotamian gods, right?
Yeah, I have a whole thing. I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and again, I agree with you, man. It's movie is a crisis of faith. It's in the title, The Exorcist. It's not
Yeah.
called Reagan. It's
Yeah.
called The Possessed One. It's not called Satan. Like
Right.
Rosemary's Baby, the Rosemary, right? No, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
called The Exorcist. And you have the iconic scene of the priest character in front of the house and the light
Yeah.
comes.
It's not, it's about The Exorcist. It's not really about Reagan.
No, or
She was a character in the movie.
yeah. And if anything, she's not even like she is definitely one of the main characters, but you know what's really odd about Reagan? There's not really background to her. So you can't
No.
even relate to her like a normal character. Of course, you can feel sorry for her because of what's happening. And
Yeah.
anything, really start to feel the mother, especially the helplessness. Like if
Yeah.
you're a child, what do you do? You
I
know?
mean, God forbid, like you see your kid like that, you're like, what? What do you like? What's happening? And
Right.
we just played with the Parker Brothers game, a Ouija board. You know, they're not even. They weren't into witchcraft. They weren't doing it to summon demons. They were just having fun. You
And
know,
one of the most creepiest scenes is Reagan says, "Mother, look, this is my friend, uh,
Captain Howdy.
Captain Howdy." And it's like, oh, it's scary how, you know,
I will recommend on Netflix. I can't think of her name. She was a famous actress. Who's the guy who was in The Fly? I think she was in The Fly, the
is
movie.
it Jeff Goldblum?
His wife, I think he married her.
Oh.
I had the biggest crush on her, and I can't think of her name.
Is it Gina Davis?
Yeah, Gina Davis.
Love Gina Davis,
Love
yeah.
her. I'm 99% sure she's a grown-up Reagan in the
Really?
Netflix series, and it is good. It's
Oh, wow.
it's really good. Then I seen the new Exorcist, that came out a few years ago. And that was good. That was a nice. It's about two girls, and they got into some stuff. And the mother from The Exorcist is in it. And there's a scene when the girl is in the mental hospital,
Mm.
and the mother's walking in, and the girl with her fingernails writes Reagan on the across the bed, and it's just so friggin' creepy. I thought that was a good movie. That and the Netflix, it's like maybe 12 episodes. It's really, really good. I recommend it. But yeah, so let's talk anything else before we end the movie.
Got that. I've got that.
You know. Um, so Pazuzu, an ancient um Babylonian god, is a demon with wings. Now, he's interesting. It's a powerful demon. He comes in the form of the wind and famine and diseases. He is I always say this word wrong. A malevolent. Help me with
Malevolent.
this. Say it again.
Malevolent? Malevolent?
Malevolent. Yeah, malevolent evil spirit.
Yeah.
But he can also protect you from other demons. So he's kind of like good. He's like Robin Hood in his, you know what I mean? He's kind of good and bad. He's not as evil. I mean, he's bringing a lot of shit. He's bringing pestilence and famine, which is brutal. But at the
Mhm.
same time, he will protect you. Now, his wife, Lamster, is a evil demon.
Mm.
She is about miscarriages and snatching babies from women. And
Mhm.
he, now they say if your wife, you got to be nuts to do this, is pregnant, put a statue of Jesus and a statue of Pazuzu. Because he
Mm.
will protect you.
A- And this was the gods of the Assyrians, who, by the
Yeah.
way, do you know in the Bible times who the Assyrians were? Who
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
capital city was?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but I have that in my
The
notes.
name is Nineveh.
Nineveh.
This is, yeah, Nineveh was considered one of the most wicked cities of the time. And
Right.
but in the Old Testament sends Jonah to have them repent before he wipes them from the face of the earth because of
Right.
sinfulness. So these are the people that probably would have worshipped Pazuzu.
Yeah.
And I feel as though like it's funny because you find this one of my side quests is like studying ancient mythologies and religions. And actually it's funny because the religions of the Near East, so like Mesopotamia, like they have this same thing where the gods, there's not really a good or bad
Yeah.
god. Mostly they're kind of weird because you can have a god that's bad but then good, like Pazuzu.
Well, Pazuzu's kind of, I mean, he's the wind. Famine and diseases is horrible, but he's
So it's
also
like,
gonna.
it's kind of like when you read these myths, it's not like for example, if you read the Epic of Gilgamesh, right?
He's in it. I believe it. I
And
believe.
in the yeah, these are the Sumerian, Akkadian, like texts. You find gods, like the Enuma Elish, who these gods are so weird because they can be like evil but good.
Yeah.
Try to explain the world and stuff and sort of like their world around them. And for me, and there's a theory that these civilizations, and who knows, Pazuzu could be real. I mean, just based on the Exorcist. I know that's a controversial take, but what's interesting is that also that the statue that you find in the Exorcist is real.
Oh, that's a real. Yeah, it's still
Oh,
there.
if you
Yeah.
can see a bronze statue of Pazuzu
Yeah.
from like the first millennium, we're talking about 1,000 years before Jesus, like it's
Yeah.
crazy. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's just fascinating because this is a like in those times, like these Pazuzu could be good, but he was evil. It's sort of like Norse mythology like with Loki.
Yeah.
Loki was not evil. Yes, he did bad
He
things.
was a trickster.
Yes,
You know.
yes. And there's actually a theory again, like that if in the Christian world, the fallen demons, these ancient civilizations encountered something like a Pazuzu, like someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because especially also fascinating the way he looks. He's um canine and very reminiscent to Egyptian gods.
Yeah.
Canine face with abnormally bulging eyes, a
Yeah.
scaly body, and
Snake like body.
very
Yeah.
snake, yeah, a scaly body, and it makes
And
me
he
think
has wing. He has wings.
talons of a bird and wings. And
Mm.
he was the son, I don't know if you got this, of the god in the Sumerian and Akkadian mythology.
Yeah.
Um, Anbi, I think that's how you pronounce it, who was the lord of evil,
Yeah.
which is kind of fascinating. And by
Yeah.
the way, this is weird too. So some archaeologists, and this is a random fact I'm just trying to remember because I did a project on this when I was like, when I was taking like theology classes, I was studying the religions of the ancient Near East.
Yeah.
So the Jewish name that we call Lucifer is equated in language wise, not English, but in the language, uh,
Hmm.
to Hanbi, Lucifer.
Wow.
There's actually like a theory, and I'll be honest with you, if the Exorcist, if God wanted it, maybe he wanted to communicate that Pazuzu is real, is an actual demon.
I'm starting to think that all these demons are real. and
No,
they're not.
and you mentioned, you said it. How come he's not mentioned in the Bible? The problem is the Bible. First of all, you don't want to mention. You don't want to know the names of these demons. First of all,
Yeah,
that's
because
my
Satan had
theory.
so many legions of demons. I mean,
Yeah.
like I've read the Lesser Key of Solomon. They're all there. They're all there. Like
Yo,
um
you're one brave soul, man. Have that crucifix nearby.
when when you think about who are the other demons I have here, what
Beelzebub. I definitely Beelzebub.
oh,
Be
Beelzebub, Baal, and what's her name? The nun. What's
Phallic.
Valak? Now Valak's interesting because Valak is a child, and Valak is like riding, like I forget exactly, a dragon or a snake, a serpent, and she's with the serpents, and the other guy Marduk.
Marduk, who was a
Yeah,
Babylonian. Yeah.
yeah. So he's another one. Those would be the big, Beelzebub, Marduk, Baal. Baal comes up a lot, but a lot of exorcists say they don't deal with them. They don't they never know that the demon is not saying their name. They're not
Right.
saying like, "Hey, I'm Beelzebub."
Right.
They just say that they don't even say who they are. They won't
Right.
even say who they are. One guy said he did actually exorcise Satan out of somebody. And that'd be pretty bad, you
Mm,
know.
right.
You know, but yeah, so there's a lot of these demons that we know from, Behemoth is another one.
Yeah.
The one that Lucifer Satan, the ones that we know from movies and stuff, and they're real. I think they're all in the Bible, but they're not named. They're in these other books. And like once again, I'm gonna say you completely out of your mind and you're nuts if you want to summon them. Like
You are
I
honestly. I've been if PSA. You know what PSA Cheech
in
is?
what's that?
What a PSA is?
No.
Public service announcement. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody, do not. And I go. You may think it's a joke. Don't do it. And you.
I I'll tell a personal story, and you know it. My past
Oh,
life,
the kids are gonna be happy. Cheech story time.
yeah, my past life, um,
How many past lives have you had, Cheech?
I had two. My first past life was amazing. The darkest I would have got with that, and it's not even dark as Christ read it, the Kabbalah, which I find fascinating, the Zohar. Me
Oh,
and my
just
first wife,
aside, just because the question. Have you ever read the book The Satanic Verses? Have you heard about this?
it's a movie. It's a movie, I think.
You saw the movie.
Yeah, it's the movie. I never understood it. I never watched it or, anything.
Ew, it has to do with like the life, or it's I don't know. It just occurred to me. But yeah, good.
But me and my first wife got into the Kabbalah and the Zohar, pretty heavy. And once I found out that Jesus Christ studied it and Aleister Crowley studied it, I was like,
Now,
wow.
now, when you say Jesus studied, now is that in the Bible?
It's
Where did you
not.
get that?
It's
And
it's,
just our
it's in
viewers
the
out there, because
it's
you're gonna get in trouble with like, where did you get that info?
I got that info from the Gnostic Bibles,
And
but
that's controversial.
now they say that the Zohar is the oldest book ever written. It predates the Bible.
Who wrote the Zohar?
Nobody knows.
It wasn't the Zoroastrians, right?
No, no, Zoroaster is a whole different thing. That's about the fire that just never goes out. It's still lit, believe it or not. Um, Nobody knows who wrote the Zohar, but it's an ancient text that supposedly all that the what are they called? The the Dead Sea Scrolls, those guys. The what are they called? Who wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls?
The Qumran community.
Yeah, they studied the Kabbalah.
Hmm.
So the theory is Jesus studied the Kabbalah. It's very interesting. It's very religious. but it also has magic in it. And that's why Crowley studied it, you know, and I found it fascinating. I even went down to the city to the Kabbalah Center. We bought Kabbalah water. We did all this. Michael Berg. If you want to learn about the Kabbalah, look up Michael Berg. It's a positive book. I studied it a lot, but then shit started happening to me way too much. The main thing about the Kabbalah is destroying your ego. I should go back and study it and destroy your ego. So if somebody pisses you off, do not retaliate with your ego because your ego is what makes you do bad things. Anger, hatred, all the bad stuff comes from somebody
That
messing
kind of
with your ego.
sounds like it's fascinating because it sounds like Buddhism kind of too.
Yeah, yeah. And the
Because it
whole
kind of
concept,
no
it's a
elimination of the ego.
elimination of the ego. So, don't like I mean, don't let people step on you, but like and I should use it at the temple. Like
Definitely through Christian. This is a joke. Yeah, no religions work there. Like they don't care.
we should throw out Zohars at and then it got into Hollywood. It became Scientology. Britney Spears was at the Kabbalah Center, Madonna. And then there's a Jewish synagogue near CVS in Greenwich. And I was walking one day and I had a copy of the Zohar with me. And the guy saw me and he says, Are you reading the Zohar? And he laughed and he said, Do you know how complicated it is to understand that? And I explained to him, and he goes, I know what's going on. I know it's called, the Kabbalah, and it's a thing now. He goes, I'm glad you're reading it. And I told him, I said, well, he goes, well, what are you getting out of it? I said, I'm trying to destroy my ego. And he goes, wow, you got 5,000 words in one. And that's the whole point. So I was really into that, but things were happening to me in a good way. It was almost the magic started to happen. I remember like out of the blue, I got like a $2 raise when I was studying. I was studying the Zohar. My band started to get tons of gigs, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this because I don't feel like it's happening naturally. There's a magical element in the Kabbalah and the Zohar, and me and my wife were deep, deep into this shit. And it's not dark magic. It's light. It's positive. It's a Jewish text. So I kind of put it down for many years. I studied the work of Michael Berg because you can't study the Zohar. You can't interpret it. It's probably in Hebrew, and you have to get somebody to interpret it. Michael Berg did audio on it, and I really, like for instance, somebody who is a leader at the temple, he's there for a purpose in your life, and you have to just be able to deal with him. And it's that kind of thing, and not let him suppress your ego and destroy your ego, and let him be, and you will see a change in that person. That's like the concept.
It kind of sounds like early psychology too, before that was a thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's fascinating. Look into it. But I mean, I could be
I
wrong.
wouldn't be shocked if Freud encountered this.
Probably. It,
I'm not saying he did, but
I
but
did read if you were a what do you call it? God. What was what was Jesus like before he was Jesus? A Jewish leader. What are they called? My brain is like
Rabbi?
rabbi. Yeah. Rabbis in ancient times studied it. So the theory was if
Oh,
rabbis
rabbi teach in Hebrew? Rabbi?
yeah, in ancient times rabbis studied it. Um the Dead Sea Scrolls authors, the Essenes studied it. So supposedly John the Baptist studied it. So Jesus, that's the theory. I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but this is Gnostic, obviously. So I don't know. I just got off
Well,
on a tangent on the
definitely, like I will
Kabbalah.
say, like it's controversial because Gnosticism during like the um the early church was condemned, and there's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
a fun theory. I mean, I'm not there's a theory too that a certain I'm thinking we're in trouble, but a certain religion was influenced by that. I'm not gonna tell you if you're smart, you probably figure it out. There's a certain religion that came after Christianity that was influenced by that,
Yeah.
and there's this whole other movement. But yeah, Gnosticism, that's interesting. And again, and
Well, the only reason why Gnosticism became popular is when they found, I guess, religious people that were buried, like friends of the apostles, relatives of the apostles. They
yeah.
would have with them the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel. I studied the Gospel of Philip a lot. The Gospel of Philip. There's even a Gospel of Judas. There's a Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and it's filled with knowledge and peaceful things. And I got so hardcore into it. I was so into the Gnostics for a while. Um, and there's even a not. There's actually the Cathars in France supposedly have a book Jesus Christ wrote called the Book of Love. Um, that's a mythical that goes back to the whole Holy Blood, Holy Grail thing. And that is somewhere in an Indiana Jones movie, you know what I mean? Hidden in like in southern France.
Hmm.
But it's not in the Bible, so it's all. And then Constantine is is responsible for saying, this Gnostic stuff is BS, throw it away. They said he had a lot to do what went into the Bible because of his mom, Saint Helena, who, because of her, is all the historical sites. She made the, where Jesus got crucified in the cave and everything.
But again, these are based on these books, which are themselves
Yeah.
controversial.
Yeah. I'm not saying I believe it. You know what I mean? I just find it fascinating. Yeah. But then Constantine, did he decide what went in the Bible, or is that just in the books I'm reading?
One of the most famous councils where what they did,
Nicaea, right?
yeah, what they did was decide in the 73 books that we have in the Catholic Bible, and
Yeah.
based on certain criteria and guidance of the Holy Spirit.
Right. That make
Fascinating.
that makes sense.
What's next, Chief? Do you want to end
Yeah.
here? Wrap up?
I think I have one more. We just went off on a crazy. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, but just a few. I always like to throw questions at the end for you.
Yeah.
William Peter Blatty, 1971 novel, The Exorcist the movie is based on a true story. Um, and there is a movie called The Possessed, which came out in 2000, and it's closer to Roland Doe's story, just to throw that out there, you know. Okay. So, do you believe a Ouija board can truly do these things?
Yes.
100%.
100%. Even the presence of a Ouija board has something. I know people might laugh if you're not a believer. And what's strange is why does this? I never got a good answer. Why does it exist? I don't understand.
It's a French thing. It's relatively new. I mean, it goes back to the Renaissance when they would have a pen and they would use a pen or something, but it's not that old.
Right.
It's not ancient. It's
Right.
not. I think tarot cards are older.
Ooh.
So I think tarot cards, Ouija boards, pendulums, psychics to a degree, but psychics do good things for people. But the police, they can help you. But at the same time, where's the power coming? Where's that energy coming from?
Hmm.
You know, I mean, how do you feel about that? Is the energy coming from a negative force, a positive force?
No, I think it's negative because just because of the history of it, and also it's weird. It's like a seance device. I don't even know how would I describe it. It's just it is creepy too. Like the
Yeah.
idea behind it.
The
And
idea of tarot cards always freaked me out.
yeah,
Like, You
Yeah.
get the death card. Am I going to die? You know what I mean? No, it doesn't mean that. No. And who, yeah, you're the dealer, but
Right.
who is making those cards come?
And I will say that, okay, from like I was since I was trained as like, I went school for psych. I'm like, your average science will say it's pseudoscience, it's BS, it's fake. Um, p- um, Parapsychology too, like it's just fake.
Yes.
From like a Catholic point of view, especially Christianity, they have warned against the use of these boards. I mean,
Yeah.
ask any exorcist, because and also there's this there are you there they are I don't know where I read this or heard this. They are used in satanic practices.
Oh, I know that for a fact. I'll
You
put it
know
that way.
that. So okay, I'm not making it
I
up.
know that for a fact. Yeah.
And the exorcists have said it will lead to demonic possession. It's one of the surest ways because of what you're calling. So yes, I believe this board is dangerous. Don't recommend nobody seek it out. It's crazy how it's a Hasbro game. I don't know if it still
I
is.
don't know. No, Milton Bradley. I don't.
Whatever it is.
I don't know why. Like what? Like it's an evil thing. Why would it be put out as a toy? You wonder if it's done intentionally to cause havoc.
Yeah.
It has to be. I mean, that
Oh,
was one of the questions I had.
and the Exorcist movie is a cautionary tale against this use. Oh, and Cheech, I think. Wait, didn't Crowley like the board too? Didn't he use it? Like,
I don't think there was a Ouija board during Crowley's time, or it might have just.
I think it was.
Um, wait, when did the Ouija? I think though, yeah, there was, but I think the Ouija board came out in the 1880s.
90. Oh, it's been around in the 1800s.
Since what? When?
1800s, as far as I know.
Well, early 1800s. Yeah, yeah, but it's not like tarot cards go back further. You know what I mean? Further.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, tarot
So
cards
like,
are ancient.
so it's like relatively new. No, I don't know. Crowley was a tarot card guy. The
Okay.
most famous cards in the world, if you're into that, are the Aleister Crowley tarot cards. You know, that was his thing. He drew them. He was a great artist. The guy was a really good artist, a poet. Not a great poet, but he tried. Um, but a really good artist. Once again, I believe in Thelema, the book, because Thelema is a great, I think, is one of the greatest philosophies because it's about doing what thy wilt. And we talked about this, your true self versus your conditioned self, your true will versus your conditioned will. And that's what he talks about. And he's all about like, do your true will, you know, be a teacher, be a bass player. Don't have I won't go there, don't have a job at a temple, Your conditioned will is waking up every day, going to the temple. But that's why Crowley did what he wanted to do, but he took things way too far. He did he took he took things way too far. He was an insane man. He's a very fascinating man. Was he as evil as people say? Once again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not
Depends on
sure.
who you ask.
Yeah, from what I read, I read the Book of the
Influence
Law.
on rock music is insane, though.
Well, he's English, and he was a hero to the English people that were into
Dude,
the occult.
that's weird.
Yeah, because witchcraft goes way back to England, and Germany. It goes way back to Europe. That's where its roots come from. There was no witches here when the Native Americans were here. Yeah, they had their witches, but all,
Shamans.
all that shit came over when the Europeans got here and stuff. So Crowley obviously came to fame with rock music and stuff. But if you read the Book of the Law, Diary of a Drug Fiend, his life story, they're fascinating to me. Yeah, he did some really insane shit with this guy Abermain the Mage, where he tried to raise this Egyptian sorcerer, and he wound up losing his mind for a while. But I've always found him fascinating. He has books of spells and stuff you could buy, but I was like, screw that. I'm fascinated because of Jimmy Page. That's really it. But I did pick up on his is not his religion. His thelema is very interesting, you know, because I always felt that your true will versus your conditioned will is important. You should do what you want. But the problem is people took that way, way, way too seriously. Oh, I should do what I want. I'm gonna go and hurt that person. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna go steal that car. Or I'm gonna, no, that's not the point. That's why I think Jimmy Page was really into, do his whole philosophy, and look where it got him. But it's still coming from a dark force. He's still a dark figure to a lot of people, but I always found him interesting to a point, you know. But I don't know. So any last things on The Exorcist, Crowley,
Very spooky episode. We
uh,
kind of had our hands on so many topics.
well, it's all hand in hand, I mean, it all like Aleister Crowley is definitely connected to the devil. Anton LaVey is connected to the devil.
I feel like there's this thing that, yeah, because it's funny because in Christianity, anything that's the inverse of anything Christian
Yeah,
is usually demonic. So like Aleister Crowley tried to make his own religion. Why?
yeah.
Anton LaVey, on religion, even on Bible. Why?
And the fascinating thing about Crowley, his father was a reverend, and Crowley knew the Bible inside and out. So did
He was
LaVey.
he was
So
like
like,
one of those Christian.
oh, what did the priest say in one of those things? That a Satanist knows the Bible just as good as a priest does.
Hmm,
They know it, word for word, and then that's why they have their own, the opposite of it.
makes sense.
But like if you look at modern day Satanists, they're very different than ascetics, ascetic Satanists back in the day, like a Son of Sam, murder and stuff. They're not doing that shit now. They're atheists who don't believe in God or Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, and
It's more of a
no
like,
doubt. No, now they have. This is what I've seen too. They view Satan as sort of like a character they can relate to because you know, um, his fall. How he was wronged by God. I feel like a lot of
yeah,
Christians lose their faith in God. They're like, I can identify with him. So
yeah,
it's mistaken for sure. It's not
yeah.
and that's what Satan wants in the end of the day. I mean,
Yeah, and it's the wrong side to be on, because even if you are some lunatic Satanist and you summon the devil, guess what? He's gonna take your soul, and he fucking hates you. He
that's
hates he hates you, and you're
that
worshiping him. If I want to summon Christ, he's gonna open arms to me and take me in.
right,
So like, whose side do you want to be on?
right.
And that's where.
Everything in the Catholic religion is just beautiful warmth. Like you have a mother,
Oh
Virgin
yeah,
Mary, God is a father, Jesus. He's portrayed as the good shepherd. Versus Satan is like horrific and like he actually wants to tear your soul apart. Like he doesn't care.
yeah. Like, why would you want to be a part of that? Why would you? I mean, yeah, it's an image, it's a thing, it's a goth, these goth
I
chicks or
I
whatever
believe
guys.
that a lot of people do sell their souls for the devil, but it's so mistaken. And when he collects, he collects.
You know, I think people do. I mean, you see it on these reels and you see these rapper guys saying they did it. I don't know if they believe it. Like, let's just say Jimmy Page did it. That's always been the rumor, right? He laughs at it when people say, "You sold your soul to the devil," right? He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I did. Sure, whatever." I think if you did do something that demonic, and I don't think Jimmy Page did that at all, you wouldn't tell anybody.
No, yeah,
But when
um,
I see a rapper saying, "Oh yeah, we made a deal, and they said I got to do this and I got to sacrifice that," dude, why are you talking about it? It's so um confidential if it is real.
right, right.
I don't even think Robert Johnson did it. It's just a great story. It's an amazing story.
And I will say that, but there have been people that I think have done it. And you can kind of see like, I mean, I hate to admit this, but like there's some certain coincidences with certain deaths of celebrities and musicians that kind of like it's strange.
Yeah, yeah.
The idea of the 27 Club is strange. Um,
Yeah, that's a good point, you
so
know.
weird. Now, did they? I'm not saying they did, but there are
Yeah.
some people that do it. And again, like,
Oh, it's always been a part of the, look at Pagnini. They said he did it.
yeah,
It
again,
goes back to
that's
Pagnini.
good.
And
Yeah,
he went, and of course, just like the black metal guys do now, Pagnini went with that because they said no one plays violin like that. You're possessed by the devil. So he dressed in black. He came to every gig in a black carriage with a black horse, and he ran to the stage.
full on advantage. Like, why
Yeah.
not? You guys think
So
that? You're like the first rock star. Listen, I'm just gonna play with the image.
well, Pagnini was the first rock star that took advantage of the occult. Definitely, he didn't, so. But goes hand in hand, so it's amazing. But you know like I'm saying, I don't want people to think I'm into that shit because I said
Yeah,
I read
no,
Crowley and stuff. I'm a Catholic.
no. Cheech is a
Um,
soul that likes to learn.
yeah,
He's like you don't. I'm trying to describe you. Like you're actually Catholic, good father. I mean,
yeah. I For
it
me, I've always had an interest in reading
likes
about
metal. You know,
the
like
occult because of these metal guys. I mean, I always joke with my mother, and I'm like, if I never saw Steve Harris, I'd probably be a doctor. You know what I mean?
your
If Geddy
mother's like,
Lee,
oh man, why did you have to meet Steve Harris?
if Geddy Lee never showed up into my life, I'd probably be an accountant making, but I wouldn't have the joy that music gave me,
And that's what a
But
lot of musicians say.
but a lot of that stuff went with heavy metal. Geezer talked about Lovecraft and Crowley and stuff. I'm soaking this up as a kid, and of course I just had an interest in the occult and stuff and the paranormal because I grew up in it when it was in its heyday in the '70s, man.
Right, right.
Hey, Amityville, Black Sabbath, Crowley was everywhere, so, but never indulged in it, never participated in it, because if you do that, you are fucking nuts.
Mhm.
Go to a cemetery, go to, Lottie Peck's house with a cemetery. I mean, what am I saying? Go to Lottie Peck's house with a Ouija board, you're out of your mind. Go to Amityville with the Ouija board, you're out of your mind. Out of your mind. Never would do that shit. You got to be crazy. I knew people that were in the satanic panic. I knew when I was in high school, it was a thing. Kids were doing, whether they were clubs that they did and they do stupid shit. And I just be like, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? Get out of your mind. Get out of your mind. But I will say the people's ghost hunters will be going to Untermeyer soon. So there it is.
Stay tuned. Stay
You know.
tuned.
But anyway, this was
And
a good
here, great episode, Cheech.
this is a Halloween episode, and we're going back to music. So probably sometime in around Halloween, I would like to do "The Devil Made Me Do It" because
Perfect.
it's a court case thing. But we're going back. We tell them about the show with the songs.
Oh, so we're gonna be planning an episode where you are kind of like the Rick Beato, and we're actually gonna do a two-parter. But for my first, I sent you 5 songs.
Yep.
You are going to listen to them front to back, no cheating. Start taking notes, your thoughts
Yep.
in live. I'm gonna say, all right, and I'm gonna guess which you hated, which maybe you liked or loved. Maybe rank them, and then you tell me what did you think about.
Yeah, I'm gonna break them down lyrically, musically, like I do with a Rush song.
It's gonna be fun, and then we're gonna have a part 2 where our old friend. Well, I'm not gonna spoil it, but an old friend's gonna return, and hopefully he's a part of the show. And he recommended some songs. I'll
Yeah.
listen to them as well.
Yeah,
Although,
for both of us to talk about and analyze.
yeah, and then he'll be joined, and it should be a good, fun
Be a
time.
good one. And then we got the Joe Silkman part 3.
Out,
Is
coming
Joe's
out,
back from England. I got a text.
yeah,
You know.
coming out, and then Conjuring episode just came out where we look at the first Conjuring movie.
Yeah.
the background, and on Spotify, follow. I'm gonna start releasing episodes on that, so you can listen.
So what do we got? We got 3 episodes on Spotify.
We have the Jesus Christ Superstar episode, which I love. The Christmas episode,
It's one of our best, yeah.
not rock episode, but all are excellent.
Great one. And then the Joe, I think we have to do one with Joe for our favorite concerts because we never finished that one.
It's that'll be. I think it's like an ongoing thing. Yeah, no, not
Yeah,
yet.
I think we have to do, one with that.
Lots of great content coming.
And then in the release of the Springsteen movie, hitting that hard. Hitting
Yeah,
that
we
real
really
hard.
need these albums.
We
And
got two albums that we're gonna do deep dives in, especially The River, which will be very, very heavy, you know. So, but this is nice for the Halloween stuff, and all in good fun. None of it serious at all. And watch The Exorcist, but keep in mind the true meaning of The Exorcist, which is faith in God and the love of a child. If you get over all the evilness of it, and it's almost impossible to get over that.
yeah,
But I took from studying it, that's what I got from it.
love of a child and love of a mother too, and father.
Yeah, a father being the priest, yeah. And the ultimate sacrifice that somebody could do.
That's the sign of fatherhood,
Yeah.
sacrifice.
So he was the real father
Yeah,
to Reagan.
yeah.
That's the metaphor.
And she kisses her father, a random priest who's her father, because they all
Yeah.
represent the father.
Yeah.
Dude, Cheech, it was great, man.
Great job.
Great.
We talked about it for how long? I mean, we've been talking about doing this stuff for about 2 years now.
Yeah, I can't believe we actually did it. And if anything, like part one, we should definitely revisit The Exorcist maybe in the future.
Oh yeah. Oh, we should do The Exorcist 3 because Father
That-
Karras makes a nice comeback.
That was another one.
Oh my God.
Another one.
Eh,
And
You could skip over The Exorcist 2
oh gosh, that's
completely.
and The Exorcist 3 has one of the most actually frightening, actually true jump scares.
Yeah, I think The Exorcist 3 was brilliant. I think George C. Scott is brilliant. I had the pleasure of meeting him one time. And Karras comes back, and they add the serial killers, everything we talk about. So we got to do Exorcist 3 at one point.
I think let's put that on the back burner and let's do it.
And maybe next Halloween because we're getting
yeah, seriously, around the season. But
yeah.
dude, all right, Cheech, man, this is good,
All
brother.
right, Manny, great job. Always
Yes,
a
sir.
blast. And I will see you at the temple.
I'll see you at the temple.
We'll write our next podcasts.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to use some seance telepathy because
Yeah.
we're getting hunted. But yeah, I'll see you in the temple. I'll see you on the next teaching.
Bring your holy water and holy relics, and just put them on the deli case. Just put them on there. Maybe we'll get rid of some of the negative energy that's been floating around.
Repel those demons, But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Cheech, man. Have a good night. I'll see you
too.
on the next Cheech and Manny
All
show.
right.
The Cheech
Take
and
care, man.
subscribe, give this video a like, and then we'll see you all in the next one.
Peace.
Peace out, Cheech.